the season finale. Yeah. Well,
So basically, you're just making it a really short episode because the husbands are on.
Yes, we're trying to get you out of here.
We appreciate your time so
Hi
much.
and bye, bitch.
So that's going to be an hour and a half.
Right.
Hey, community.
It's the husbands.
What's brewing today?
Our husbands are back.
Oh, you're offended?
And our top 3 divas. So get your cups ready for Minority Report.
Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Kerel.
It's Auntie Dawon.
And Auntie Jerrell.
And if you haven't watched this already from this jump, like the 2 seconds we're in, you wouldn't know that we have some special guests. But if you're on YouTube, you already see. It's a hubby episode. It's a hubby episode.
Pew, 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 pew.
We have all our boyfriends, partners, husbands, all the above. Miss Ma'ams with us. And we realized it's been a long time. It's been almost 100 episodes since we had them on.
Yeah.
Our bads.
When you say it like that, it does sound like a really long time.
It's been damn near 2 years. People have been asking, people have been DMing, saying, where are the husbands? You guys talking about them all the time. Well, here they are. Say hello, ladies.
That's a cue.
Hi.
Oh, now they get quiet. Now they get quiet. Okay. Okay. Dua Lipa, you better start talking.
What are you talking for?
They came with writers and everything, demands, and saying it's too hot. I need my lighting. Getting
Asking
all
for
in the
yellow
microphone.
M&Ms. Come on,
Honey.
I can't remember. Did y'all come up with auntie names last
They
time?
did.
Did they?
Long time ago.
Yeah, I really don't remember mine.
Yeah.
Mine's
Like
Auntie.
127
you're
episodes.
Yeah, yours
ago.
is product. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Corey is Auntie Arek.
Erect.
All right.
Correct.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Come on.
Come
on, Auntie
I said
Arek.
that correctly. That's why she's not standing up.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't have everybody else's names in here.
I'm trying to remember too. I don't recall.
Fizz, what would be your drink, babe?
No.
Well, this has been a very interesting episode so far.
I know,
Thank you, husbands, and
And for all y'all wondering why we don't have the husbands on the episode.
I know, literally, they were all just
leave
gabbing
it.
away.
Just give
Lead
us
the
5
conversation
minutes, please.
then.
Well, I've been getting rules and regulations since we started, so I just
know.
shut down a little bit.
What do you mean? I know. I said nothing. I gave you your topics and
y'all
said
been telling
nothing.
us what to do. From
Well,
the
it is our
Don't
show,
lean
so
too
as we
much.
should.
Don't talk too
This,
much. We're like, okay, we're just gonna shut up.
Too close to the microphone.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. No.
There. Is that what? Give them hell, Fizz.
Well, no, we're glad you guys took time.
thank
to
you.
hang
It's
with
about
us,
time.
I know Corey's been like,
Yes,
when we
Corey.
coming back? When we coming back? Like I do stuff on social media too. You don't have me on.
No, I said I was an influencer, and you're welcome.
And don't be acting like you've
You're
been
ready
asking
for
to come
your
on.
own podcast.
Right.
Say who? I'm sorry, I was looking
You,
at my.
Corey. You're ready for your own podcast.
I know, right?
What would your own
What are you
podcast be
waiting
about?
for?
Corey.
That's it. That would be the name of it. Lord.
And the things that you buy.
the things that he buy, the antiques. that
Oh,
he
you have a
buys.
great shopping, like antique shopping podcast.
Well, I used to have an antique store, so no, I have a better cooking one.
What was your cooking one now?
It could be both.
My cooking one now is on Instagram. Diabetes sucks, but this looks.
Oh, you don't even know your own social, girl.
Diabetes sucks, but this tastes good.
See?
And on the TikTok with over 23,000 followers.
Oh, okay, now. You
How
better
much
stop.
did Minority Report have?
Plug it.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do
You
that.
see this? She about to get
How
the
much
boo.
did you guys have?
Let me
Get
go ahead and
the
finish
boo.
that.
I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know.
Right.
On the TikTok, this tastes good.
There you go. There you go. All the diabetes cooking.
Don't follow me on
And
Facebook.
anyone else want to plug stuff? I know Fizz, you be painting. I know Adam, you be in the beauty world. Y'all want to plug some stuff while we're at the beginning?
Time's up. No. Not after that last comment of hers. You better go to This Tastes Good.
Oh, right. And I got to see Jerrell and Fizz actually last weekend, so that was good.
I know.
To see.
Literally, it's been like maybe 48 hours.
I literally, by the time we're recording this, it's like, girl, I just saw you.
Let me tell you, the quietness that was at home, I was like, this feels weird.
Yeah.
Like, ain't no screaming and laughing, and it was a lot.
No more drinks. I'm going on a cleanse.
As we're over here drinking wine, we're like, wow, won't get
wine
crazy.
is different.
I mean, that
doesn't
is
count.
antioxidants.
Come on now, Adam. That's my girl. Okay. Boom.
That's right.
She's the favorite husband.
That part. I know. I feel like I haven't seen Adam in so long. Like even like on Zoom, I haven't seen Adam in so long. It's due time, boo.
Have you done Zoom lately? Because I don't get the invites. This is my invite.
I leave that. I stay out of grown folks' business.
Oh, okay.
Who said that?
Right. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good to see Fizz and Jerrell in person, and then Dawon. I know you was over in Paris, darling.
Oui, Fifi.
Oui.
It was a whirlwind trip, and I did nothing. I did nothing.
Did you go to the spa at least?
Yeah, well, I mean, the hotel that I stayed in has a spa there, so I got a massage, so that was nice. But it was like, and no shade to the ladies out there, but
It wasn't it.
no, it was. I mean, they just like knead and dough, and I'm on elbows and
Throw them bows.
knees and
like Cadillac grills.
I came out of there was like I had knots and I still got knots. This is not where it's at, but it was a lovely experience. Look, it smelled nice, all the eucalyptus, but that was about it.
I need a man, Maury.
Honey, that's
part.
the worst when it's like a half-ass massage. It's like,
it is the worst. It's like
I want my money back.
It's like a little tickle.
Damn, I could have stayed at home.
And I got a little tickle swallow
We
down the wrong throat here.
the two of us, we don't often get massages. So anytime like we go to massage each other, we're like, oh, girl, like it's like
Squish.
it is so bad because we just really don't do massages. So our bodies just be like just all knotted up, and we still just go to the gym, still stressed, but we just don't do massages. Should I do it? Let me show y'all. No, I'm kidding.
Why,
Before Corey, I was never really into massages, and Corey loves a massage. Ever since then, I'm like, you know what? I'm here for it.
Yes.
Yeah, I love a good massage. That would be the first thing I would buy as a millionaire, is a live-in masseuse.
Hey,
Absolutely.
what's he look like?
Do you have a preference?
It's like, yes, I want that one. Thanks.
I'll have to look
Here's
at the
some
catalog.
Right. It's like,
I know for me personally, I just don't want nobody touching me.
really?
Yeah.
Really?
I just don't want nobody
That's a
touching
lie.
me. You? Yeah, duh.
Y'all are better.
It's the love language for a reason. Only one person getting that.
Yeah, I'm like, touch me all you want to. Get in there. Like, yeah, I'm here for it. But yeah, so I don't know. We had a good weekend. It is so weird. Like, I don't know. It's so natural. Like with Dawon and Jerrell on here to like see where the conversation goes. I'm finding, I'm like, what the fuck do I talk about next? I don't know. It's weird. Husbands, I have a question for the husbands. What do you guys think of our podcast so far? Like, it's been 3 years damn near now. Did you guys think it was going to last this long?
There's a right and wrong answer.
There is a right or wrong
No,
answer.
I thought it was going to last this long.
That's a good answer, Boo. Thank you.
No, seriously. It's a great podcast.
Your turn.
Aw.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, good job.
Oh, see.
I did, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Y'all are
now.
adding so much to this conversation.
Now we can
Okay,
say.
so now we can say the realness and we can edit out the rest of it. Okay, so
Right.
now y'all can be real. Okay, now you can say what you want to say. You can say how you really feel.
Right, that part.
But I don't know if what do you think?
No, for real. From the beginning, when you guys started, I thought it was a really good idea. I had no idea like what the behind of the scene is gonna be and how all this is gonna look like because you guys are all like situated in different parts of United States of America. So, but seeing you guys like how you all come together and make this work, I'm really proud of you guys.
Hey,
Yep.
that was nice.
That's my
Thanks,
girl.
bro. Aw. Even though we be talking about white people all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
It'll be funny because sometimes we will start recording while he's still working.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be like, I am working, bitch. Shut the fuck up.
And of course, like, you're so fucking loud up there. I'm like,
I
it is what it is.
have to close his door where he records the podcast and my door where I work, and I'm still hearing Ken. I'm like, I'm sorry, and that's my boss. Like, Jerrell is recording.
And of course,
So
like, put a
I
towel
have a
underneath your door.
question.
Yeah.
I have a question for the husbands. So, does anybody like listen to the podcast
No.
actively? Okay, I'm asking because Dawon gives me shit all the time for not listening.
used to
I hear
listen
you
to
guys
it.
support it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't listen to it weekly, but I do when I take road trips like back home to Ohio. I will listen to the whole year, the whole time. It's like 9 hours.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I do as well. Like I have this period sometimes when I just go and listen to audible books like while I'm working. So instead of doing that, I listen to podcasts, to your guys' podcast. It might not be all the episodes, like if I'm being honest, but I do listen.
And I think the other point that we're all missing here is that
I do listen. We all the time.
we live it every day.
Oh, you live
Yeah,
it?
and
You live it every day?
recording.
Every gosh darn.
I will
You
say,
hear one part of the conversation.
I hear it all.
You hear reactions.
I'm
That's
in there
what you hear.
stretching. I get it all. Up close and personal.
What we talked about last week. Exactly.
I don't even remember what I did last week, let alone what people were talking about.
I wouldn't have been able to answer that question.
I'd be forgetting too, and I'd be editing the shit. I'm like, what was it?
Once it's gone, it's gone. It's
I will say
gifted
though,
to the universe.
he does a great job of though, like afterwards, like I have like a mini podcast with him because then I will go and talk about everything that we talked about on the podcast with him. So I think I might spoil him a little bit. That's maybe why he don't listen to the podcast, because we will spend like the next 30-45 minutes afterwards always like kind of debriefing because I'm already like up here, and when we're done it's like 6 p.m. for me. So I'll be wide awake at 6 p.m. like So we'll talk about it for a little bit just to bring my ass down a little bit. Right.
No, that's over here on the East Coast.
Y'all be tired. Y'all be
like
close.
It's 11 o'clock.
Right. I know. I go. Corey would usually be in the bed, and like I'm still like in that energy, in that mode. So I'm like, hell, you know, da 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 da. He's like, A, you were way too loud. B, I'm trying to go to sleep. Like I'm like, damn. Like I still feel like talking.
That's you up here. I'm gonna need you to bring it down here.
Pretty much.
So, continuing the conversation. So, as you know, husbands, partners, you know, loved ones, of us.
Wow. Okay. Did you guys do that?
What do you think is what do you think is like a partner's responsibility, if any, in terms of supporting, you know, their partner's endeavors? Because I know, and Corey, you know, I think about you and your, you know, vlog, you know, that's all about like food and, you know, your culinary experience, you know, navigating diabetes and whatnot. So I'm just curious, you know, how do you guys feel what do you feel is your responsibility, or, you know, your responsibility in terms of supporting your partner's crafts?
I think I'll answer that.
I probably like vice versa, but Adam will go first.
Right, Adam.
I think like liking and interacting in social posts and sharing social posts is very important to start.
Yeah.
I think that goes for everyone. I every single thing you guys post, I'm gonna like. That's a huge support because just the algorithms, as I've been doing mine, it's just stupid, but you have to do all that stuff. And yeah, I hear it every day.
You have a living podcast in the house.
You can't get away from it.
Now, the other thing I will say is I'm not computer savvy like this one, so I'll say his support towards me, I could never give him that much support.
That's a true statement.
Thanks, boo.
Oh, okay. You're gonna be kind now. Right. When the camera go down, he's like, bitch, get my computer. Do da da da. Come on. I can't do this. Fuck this computer. Da 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 da. But that's what it was the best gift I think I've given anyone in my life was buying him a computer last Christmas, because not only was I like doing like the podcast stuff, I was also doing Corey's stuff. And I was just like, this is just too much. And so I was like, you know what? It's like, let me spend these coins and teach him.
The hell out of my videos.
And that is true. He's actually gotten very good at cranking it out. So I'm like, there you go. You can learn it and do it yourself. But I'm trying to think. But no, like I feel like for support for him, I'm just glad he found a medium and a platform that kind of hopefully holds him accountable, because diabetes is a serious thing, you know, and it kind of like shook up both of our lives, quite frankly, especially for him because he was a foodie. And so a lot of his culture foods were like carb loaded and things like that. So for at first, he was kind of just down, just like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. And for him to, even though I kind of suggested it, and at first he's like, no, I don't want to. Sometimes you can put those little feelers out there. And he's like, you know what? I could put this on the internet. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay. And it's held him accountable. And with him being held accountable, it's keeping my husband alive, quite frankly. And that's all I care about. So,
girl, I ain't going anywhere. Don't worry.
Well, if you keep eating them damn donuts, I don't know.
I can't. What's going along with you though, Kerel? Like, I don't know, like, one of the things that he's really good at is like art, like painting, drawing. Like that is just not my thing at all whatsoever. So it's kind of one of the things that I'm like so envious of him being able to do that I really want to support him even more, because I wish I could be able to do those things. And then like last year when he really started getting back into drawing, you know, he was like, I don't know how to support, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, being a white man from Europe, you know, like I just don't know. And then he literally took something he's good at, which is art, and sold paintings and donated to queer POC organizations that helped, you know, our people, you know. So it was just really great to see. And then like watching him fall in love with that side of him all over again has been great. But if there's anyone out there that wants some free painting, there's about like 15 over here next to the dryer. So just come on over and we will happily hook you up.
No, those paintings are dope.
I kind of feel like, yeah, I kind of feel like support has to be authentic.
Yeah.
You know, like I ask, you know, like, hey, you know, do you listen? What do you do? Because we don't really, like, if you don't ask, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about that all the time, you know, communication. So if you don't ask, you don't have a conversation about it, you don't know. But it's not just about, you know, like liking and, you know, whatever. It's just, it's about it coming from a place of authenticity, and like it's something that you actually want to do. I know that was a lesson for me that was really tough to kind of learn. I know I shared this when, you know, the whole, you know, like Black Lives Matter protest was going on. I know we shared some moments, you know, the aunties about, you know, just processing like, oh, you know, do we be out here in these streets protesting and all that kind of stuff. And I carried a lot of guilt for, you know, not being out there. And as I was trying to process that, I came to realize that not every kind of support, or protest or whatever is everyone's ministry. Like what one person does should be true to them. And if your form of support is, look, I'm just going to get out of your way and let you do you, or I'm going to like big up and like and share and whatever, like it just, in my opinion, just needs to come from an authentic place.
Can I say something really quick?
Of course.
It's fine. It's interesting to me, like, since I've been doing like videos and blah, blah, for cooking, it's the strangers, the people you don't know, who have sent private messages or comments that are unbelievably more supportive than most of your friends and family anyways. And that's where I channel, because I could get mad, like, well, why aren't my friends and family liking or commenting? You know what I mean? They should be hitting like on every single damn thing I post. But it's and then I had to forgive in my own stupidity. But it's the strangers that have sent me the most like heartfelt, like, you're helping me, I didn't know about this. That's where your support comes from. We can't count on the people we can't count on our close people, even though we think we are supposed to. Don't count on the people that you're influencing, not to say that word, but it's amazing what people like you guys, what you're doing and how it helps and influences people out there that you don't even know, but you've gotten to know through
because it kind of just brings it back to like the root of like why you're kind of doing it. Because it's just like, if you're kind of doing it more for, if you like, I guess if you set the expectation of thinking everyone's gonna like everything that you do, especially the ones close to, you're gonna have your heart broken, Yeah. But then it's like, then it reminds you, like, oh shit, I'm not doing it for that. Like, I'm doing it to be visible and show at least for the podcast, show the spectrum that is being a gay black man. And even if it's just one person or if it's 10,000 people that understand it and like it and support it, cool. But at the end of the day, that's maybe not the foundation of why we're doing it. Yes, we want to help people. But at the end of the day, it's like, if it's just one person said, you know what, I saw Kerel, Jerrell, and Dawon, and I am more comfortable with myself, I'm good with it. The rest of it's a cherry on top.
How many times have we heard from people that we don't even know? We didn't even know we're listening to the podcast. We've never.
I am friends with some listeners that I've never met.
Same here.
And so many of those individuals have said, we so appreciate the relationship that us three have, because there will be times when we will get into heated discussions, and then 5 minutes later, we'll be kikiing it again on a completely different topic, and it doesn't faze us. And so many people have reached out to us saying that, wow, I've never really seen relationships within black gay men who are so respectful of each other. And it's like, yeah, you can respectfully disagree, and still maintain your relationship. And it's great to hear those kind of comments, because at the end of the day, yes, we want to show the fullness of the spectrum, but we also, recognize that we have an opportunity to be able to show what real friendship really looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I say often all the time about how. Oh, go ahead, Adam. Go back, babe.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think the beauty to that, with what you were saying, Corey, is in doing so, you're finding your audience that way, and then finding the community that I think you connect the best with for what you're talking about.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. I also feel like, and I know you wanted to say something real quick. Well, you want to say something. I want to say something real quick. There are a lot of other couples that are in this situation right now. When everybody was on lockdown, there was a whole lot of people picking up a whole lot of new hobbies and getting into the podcast game, or learning how to play an instrument or whatever, because shit, you couldn't do anything else. You were locked. Well, for most of us, you're locked in the house. So it's just interesting. It's just interesting having this dialogue with y'all, because there are so many couples that are in this space, where outside of work, like the job that pays the bills, there are all these other extracurriculars that people are doing independently, and some couples are doing them together, that require a little bit of understanding, from both people.
And I'm thankful, and I would say this just for all three of us, honestly, thankful for you three, because this does take up time. And like, I know there's times where like I'm literally sitting on the couch editing the podcast, and Corey's like, I just need some attention. And I'm
no,
like,
no.
Oh Lord.
It was the time we were in Puerto Rico.
Oh, I brought that up recently.
The hotel at the resort, and he was on a podcast with you all bitches for hours, and my motherfucking stomach was hungry.
Ooh, she was hangry,
and I was mad as fuck.
Remember how we were just talking this week about hangry?
Literally,
honey.
Corey, let me tell you, we made sure to move everything up for when we take our break. Like started in October because of that story alone. Like we all remember that story. Like,
he was not happy. He was not happy.
I talked to you for a few hours after that.
Yeah, you was not happy. But I mean, honestly, it takes time away from the relationship, quite frankly, and
too much.
But thank you.
I would
be like, bye. This man be like, bye.
No, like I feel like
he be hyped.
I feel like that's where my support comes from, because I am not good in social media. Like I don't like and I don't post a lot of stuff on Instagram and on Facebook, and I sometimes feel bad for not like sharing a lot of posts that you guys share or forward, or I don't know. But my support, I think it comes from a place where you guys have to record. I try to make space for him, or I either go for a walk or something, because we live in an apartment. It's not that big, obviously. So that's where my support system comes from. And of course, like when I'm with friends, I try to like talk and tell them what my partner does and what you guys do and all that. Yeah.
And he got ideas. He be like, "Oh, yes, think about this."
And I make sure to ask him after every recording, like, how did the podcast go? What was the highlight? That's like something that I try to not forget every time.
I'm usually in bed. That's why I don't ask.
I can hear it from downstairs, so I don't ask either.
I know that shit. I've gotten yelled at for years, ever since puberty, about how my voice travels. I can't help it. I'm just glad my voice is back. I thought I was going to be hoarse still from this weekend.
I thought you were going to be a horse, because when you left on Sunday,
girl,
nah.
sounding like gremlins. But one thing we definitely wanted to talk with you all about was, obviously our podcast is rooted in being Black and people of color within the queer community. And a lot of it, unfortunately, deals with racism, especially within like the last year or two. You've seen this like Black Lives Matter movement. You've seen like Ahmaud Arbery. You've seen George Floyd. You've seen just like these huge moments that have specifically affected people that you're in relationships with. And you might hear us say like, fuck them white people, or, just either emotionally or sometimes it's very valid. But we were curious. We're like, okay, this is a conversation we haven't been able to really have on here yet, is the opposite side of like, how did those movements affect you all being in a relationship with a person of color? And when sometimes we might be speaking out of emotion, we might be drained because of it. We might be so affected by it because it happens to us day in, day out. And what is your perspective? Have you learned anything different, or things that you're like, damn, I wish they didn't say that, or whatever it may be?
Okay, so I'll start with this. Like, I am pretty new to the United States of America, so I've been living here for just like 5 years.
I love that you say United States of America. This is how you know he ain't from here.
Because I'm still learning. I'm still learning those questions. 100 questions. Yeah. So these last 5 years have been really interesting for me, and especially when it comes to like racial discussions and what happens in the United States of America. Because I literally had no idea how bad it was coming from Europe, or coming from Kosovo, because for 29 years of my life, I had like zero interactions with Black people. There are no Black people in Kosovo or in Albania. Mm-hmm. And like the first experience that I had with you and the cop when we were in Minneapolis, and they just stopped us because they just saw the two of us together, and I still couldn't understand what's going on, and he tried to explain it to me, but I still didn't get it until recently, as you said, girl, like the last 2 years when it got really, really bad. I kind of like started seeing and understanding more what really happens in the United States of America. And I try to, every time I talk with my friends from back home, to explain how things are really here, because this idea of US in Kosovo, it's that everything gets superb, everything gets fine, like there are no problems, like it's on this pedestal that and I understand it. It's hard to think otherwise, because that's what we see from TV, from movies, or from whatever. I try to talk and try to like tell them my experience on how I see and what I see here, which it still doesn't make any sense to me or to my friends from back home. It's like, what?
So, like back in Kosovo, like a lot of the American experience, or at least the facade of it, is through entertainment. So it's kind of almost brushed under the rug, or it's kind of given this false reality of what's really occurring over here.
Exactly. Because that's what I thought coming here like 5 years ago. I thought that it was all, you know, like pretty and no problems, and you know, everything it just flows. It's all good. But then coming here, I kind of like realized that, oh, wait a minute, like this is actually real, because some of the stuff that we saw in Kosovo, it was like, oh, that's just movies, you know, that doesn't happen. It's not real, whatever. People being creative. But then I got to like experience it firsthand and see it's like, oh, okay, yeah, just wait a minute, take a step back, and just, I had a lot to learn, and I'm still learning, and I still have asked Jerrell like lots of questions that sometimes I feel like, oh, this might be a stupid question. I don't even know how to ask this. Like, am I going to say something that I should not? But just try to ask questions that I don't understand, and
that's interesting.
learn as much as I can.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Adam?
I think Dawon and I, for the most part, have always, you know, been on the same page and pretty open with, you know, the discussion regarding race. Even before, you know, everything started going down and, you know, being broadcasted. So, you know, I grew up with white people, and I know the bullshit they're on.
Wait, what?
So, I would say eight times out of 10, I agree with them, and you know, we're pretty much on the same page. Sometimes he likes to like get carried away and just talk shit, but I mean, I don't take it to heart. I really don't.
Me?
Never.
The boy from Ohio.
Right. Corey.
My turn.
Your turn, girl.
Another boy from Ohio.
Toledo.
So when you guys say like white people kind of thing, the funny thing is, that's what I always said, because I'm Greek and Lebanese. Damn it, I grew up with that culture, and all my cousins and friends, they're all basically mostly Lebanese, and my Greeks and side. So it was always like, we always said, look at the white people as from our culture. So, and I grew up in a white area, obviously. And when the one black kid family moved in, it was a big uproar. His name was Corey. We became friends.
Was it cute?
The Corey.
No.
Oh,
but you know what I mean? It was like, it
you
was...
made me listen to this podcast.
Right. Hey, Corey.
But but then the neighborhood was going down. It was just the stereotypical
Pounding on the desk.
Stereotypical scenarios. constantly. But I don't know. So we always said white people too.
Is it weird for you? Like, because this is probably the biggest lesson that I've learned on this podcast was like the episode where the point where I was saying is like you being able to pass as white, but your experience growing up was so Arab, and it was the white people still picking on the Arabs. But is it weird to be able to pass as white, but still have that upbringing of being Arab? Like, you probably hear conversations about ethnicities thinking that you're a white guy.
So really quick, my dad would always watch the old westerns and all the old movies, and he would just get pissed off every time because he would always say, "Oh, they always portray the Arab as the terrorist or the bad guy," and he was just saying, right? It's never going to go away. It is what it is. Unfortunately, I don't think any of this will be good in our lifetime or a lot of people's lifetime still, unfortunately. But so not to take away from it, but when it's the same with every culture. If you asked an Asian person or someone from Mexico or whoever, it's all the same. It's the same issue.
White people.
Well, I mean, but I think it is a little different when you're passing, and I have to say that because like even with Fizz, like we've had some conversations where
once Fizz opens his mouth, he's not a white person,
right? But that's just it, though. Like passing doesn't necessarily have to be how you sound or where you come from. Right. It's about how you look. That's what passing is. And so that's what I say with him. I was like, yeah, I know that you're not a white American person. You are literally from Europe. And when you speak, you can hear the accent, I was like, but there's still a tiny bit of privilege in there where you can sit quiet all like this, which I know you two can't do. So you'll get caught. But like if you could, you could be just fine. So that alone has its privilege that we've had to have conversations with of like understanding that it's like that, and that's not you, that's not your fault or anything of the sort like that. That's just one of the cards that you were dealt in life that benefits you that a lot of us don't have. And so like we've kind of like to the point of your question, Kerel, is like I've always like we've had that conversation plenty of times too. Like, how do you feel sometimes? Because I will often, I am Auntie Henny. I'd be the one that would be extra cutthroat on here. Fuck this person, blah, 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 blah. And I've had to learn how to like slow it down to make it a teaching moment for him because this is something that's new to him. And so between my relationship with him and the podcast, I've been able to express my feelings in a completely different way that I never would have been able to prior to the podcast or my relationship with him, and I've had to learn that there's sometimes you got to be careful when you say white people because it's no different when they be like, well, black people this, so it's a real hard line to kind of to see and acknowledge, but after all these years, I can cross that line and I don't care. It's been a one-way street for so long. So but out of respect for him, though, and others that I do and know I love, I try to be as
I think there's a big difference. Well, two things. One, I so appreciate many things I appreciate about Adam is Adam gets it. Like he's not like one of these like faux woke, want to be down for the cause or whatever. He like navigates this thing in his own kind of way, but he gets it. Like he gets it. Like he, grew up in Indiana. You see, that's a thing with us. But
good old Elkhart. Come on, Elkhart, stand up.
Them Indianians want to love to be Ohioans so bad.
And they both want to be Michiganders. But anyway.
Hardly. But one of the things that I do appreciate about Adam is like when it comes to like, racially motivated things, we've been always on accord. and it wasn't like, oh, he's waiting to see how I'm gonna react. Like, you know, I'll be in, like, I'll be here and he'll be in a completely different room, like listening to like the news or reading an article, and he's like, these stupid da, 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 like going off with that Capricorn energy, Jerrell. You know how that be. You know, like
it's great,
going off and like, what?
I love it.
You know, so we haven't really had a lot of like in-depth conversations about race relations because Adam has always, in my eyes, always got it. And so when it comes to like something going down and I'm like, oh, you know, these stupid white people, I do have to check. Like I ask him like, hey, you know that I'm not meaning that towards, you know, all white people, but these motherfuckers right here,
them over
there. Well, that's something that I had to learn over the time. And this probably comes more to like switching my brain from Albanian to English or something else. I don't know. But in the beginning where Jerrell was saying, you know, these white people or whatever, like if I'm being honest, I used to like take it very personal. And it took me a little bit of time and reading that when he's saying, or when a black person says white people, he's not doing like this, you know, but he's talking to something else or referring to something else. And it took me just a little bit time to like learn that and read that.
That's why I love that we have, you know, the word, you know, Karens now, you know, it makes it easier to identify. When you say white people, I mean the fucking Karens of the goddamn world, you know, like them heifers, you know.
And the one thing, honestly, to the last few years has really brought to everyone's attention is that privilege piece of it. Like, just even recently seeing, like, folks get off, like, what's his face, old boy from that drove and shot up people to get off. And that's a moment where I'm like,
wait, who is suing LeBron James, by the way? Did I hear that correctly?
Let's not give that any more shine.
For $180 million, I'm suing LeBron James.
This kid has a legal team behind him that is trying to milk every bit that they
he has a publicist. He has a white supremacist publicist. Let's be real. Like he got somebody that's in the Republican Party that's like trying to rile people up, and they're like, let's make this little boy the poster person.
Yeah,
like that's all that he's doing.
Trump number 2.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But it's those moments that I think has really been able to help folks realize, don't get on your phone because you be having your phone all loud. Sorry. But that at least shows a lot of people when we say white people and privilege, those are the moments that I'm glad that social media exists, even though social media could be problematic at times. Because it's those situations that we've always seen in our lives, that we've always heard in being in black families and things like that, that it's just not us talking out the side of our necks. It's not just us trying to place blame on a whole community. It's like, no, these specific human beings, you see it now, what we've been talking about for so long.
It's not new to us. It's new to you.
That part of it.
You know.
And quite frankly, you know, I think we talked a little bit about this in one of the earlier podcasts, but I'm thankful that we're in the time that we're in right now, because for as many white allies and woke, you know, non-blacks that there are, they're actually starting to see, because so many things are videotaped now, they're starting to see the kinds of injustices that we have been talking about. Because it's not just about the overt racism. It's not just about, you know, police cars and, you know, and like, you know, murdering people, whatever. That's one trauma. The second trauma is them motherfuckers getting off. And they're now starting to experience that. They experience that with, you know, old boy getting winning the election, you know, the first go around. They saw this with, you know, this Rittenhouse case, or seeing these cases where it's like, on the surface, oh yeah, you know, this did this. Why is this taking so long? Why is this, and okay, the justice system is going to work. And now seeing the justice system doing what it was intended to do, which is get these white people off, right? But seeing it not serve up justice, I think they're starting to see the gravity of the injustice that we've been seeing and we've been talking about for so long, because it's so easy to dismiss something that you don't understand. Oh, well, so and so, all I hear is, yeah, that person got shot up, but yeah, they were trying to rob some houses in that neighborhood, and they were just some good Samaritans that just happened to, be walking by and stop this person. And yeah, even though they got shot, they did the right thing. No, motherfucker, that's a lie. All of that is a lie. And let's see what happens. So when these people get off, black people be like, I'm not surprised. And here they are, the allies, the woke allies, are all falling out of their chairs. Like, I can't believe the atrocity of the United States
we over here like, what's for dinner?
Right, like for real. Change the channel.
Oh, honey, right.
Oh, come on, you Wheel of Fortune. Let's go ahead. What we got on today? But it's true. But here's the other thing that's kind of sad about it is the reality of the fact is how quickly people forget in this country too, or just in general, like the reason why, we were protesting and we've been protesting for years, like none of this is new, but the idea that some people are like, wait, what? Oh, we're doing this? It's like, no, we've been doing these things. Or like, oh my God, this happened. It's like, no, this is actually the 100th time that this has happened, like we tend to forget. And I think largely like social media has a lot to do with this, because things are constantly changing in entertainment, and so people tend to forget that someone was killed, for a ridiculous reason that had nothing to do with them, for just walking home, with a bag of Skittles, in their own home. Like people tend to forget that these things actually happen. And then all of a sudden they're surprised when something else happened. It's just like, this short-term memory is going to be the death of us. We're not going to be able to grow if we continue to have this type of short-term memory. And we need people specifically, actually, no, I'm going to say people in general, because now I'm just talking about in general. When we talk about equality for everybody and equity for everybody, like we need the short-term memory has to stop, because I shouldn't have to be a woman to understand and be able to support women. I shouldn't have to be Asian to understand and support and be there for people who are Asian. It shouldn't have to affect me directly for me to give a damn. Right. I should be able to hear, listen, accept, digest, and remember, and then and let that be who I am as I continue every day going forward. And what happens is so often people get mad in that moment and they're like, okay, all right, whatever. I no longer care. And we need to remember to care, not just today, but every day going forward.
Yeah.
How we get there, I don't know.
Exactly. So anything else, Corey? You good?
Sure.
What's the short mean? You got another point? Speak your mind, girl.
I won't get all involved in this.
That's what that's the podcast for.
Yeah, girl. Come on now. This is a space.
Talk.
Get all up in there, girl.
Do you have a counterpoint?
Well, okay. So I'm guilty of it when you say, I say white people. But one thing I've learned being with Kerel over the years, 10 years almost. Jesus Christ. Is I've learned a lot because I had very different upbringing, but period. So when we keep saying, and I'm trying to stop myself, and I have been stopping myself from like being critical. I'm like, oh, these fucking white people, like, because it's not what I am.
Right.
So by doing that constantly, and I know it goes both ways, but when everyone stops fucking doing all that shit, it becomes one instead of constantly like classing everyone. Poor people, this person, black people, white people. It's meaningless.
Yeah. But I think we all have the same oppressor, though.
But I understand
that's
that,
exactly
and I get that, like you're saying, well, this is something we've all of our lives, blah, 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 going on and on and on. But so when does it stop and say, okay, all right, I'm not going to say that anymore.
When white people say white people.
But no,
here's the thing.
But black people.
Black people don't be bothering nobody, though. We be minding our own.
We really do be minding our business.
Like, we don't want to be all up in nobody else's Kool-Aid but our own. And we just want to be left the fuck alone. And even when we were left alone, we built our own little cities, had our own little police, we were thriving and abundance. They came up and bombed our shit and burnt it and killed us because they're jealous of how we blossom. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's just like, leave us the fuck alone.
Yeah. Period.
So why are you getting getting in your car as a 17-year-old or whatever to go to a Black Lives Matter that don't have shit to do with you?
Period.
Stay out of black people's business. Mm-hmm. That's what I like. Where does it end? That's where it ends.
That part.
Stay out of black people's business. Yeah. You know, like if they can do that, then we ain't got no problems. Let us do us and you do you.
And I think it's gonna be in everyone's business, no matter what. It's just humanity.
But I think that's just it, though. Like, you know, I think it's being less in people's business that is where you get your answer. You know, like if I am worrying about myself, then I'm doing all that I can. You know. So if I'm doing all that I can and someone's inserting themselves, then the obvious answer is this person, you know? And I think that's why we say a lot often white people, because that person who was the one disrupting and actually causing the issue tends to be a white person.
I know, but everyone can say that. A white person can say that about another. Well, anyone can say.
But the thing is, white people don't treat other white people like that as often as they treat the other marginalized things. So it's not about necessarily like who can and can't. I think it's about just more the reality of how it's actually happening. Does that make sense?
Like, I've seen white people treat other white people really horribly too.
I think this is what happened. They made it the norm. It was white people that made it the norm to be in everyone's business, quite frankly.
That's how the country started.
Literally. And so it feels uncomfortable when folks say, oh, it's white people doing this, they're always in this business, and it's become humanity. Not really. It really wasn't until they started doing a lot of the oppression and trying to make it the norm. And so that's a lot of stuff that like we find that we have to almost like unpack and like be like, oh shit, should I care about that? And why do I care about that? Who came up with this? Like, and why are the textbooks saying this? And why are the laws saying this? And why are this? And like, remember the conversation we just had the other day? I was like, it's mind-boggling that people don't stop and think that a lot of the laws that we still have in place in 2021 are literally built off of white men, making it easy for them to live.
100%.
No one else. And so they're the original people that made it their business to make everyone suffer and made it the norm. And so hearing you say that like, oh, it's just humanity, not really. It was white men trying to make it humanity so they could oppress everyone. And that's the part that people got uncomfortable trying to unpack now, because now they're thinking, oh, well, now you're in my business of trying to change the laws and trying to do that. No, bitch. Like, we're trying to just make it square, even for everybody. Exactly.
I think it'll be easy to take the whole, like, and I think maybe Corey, let me know if this is wrong. Like, I'm sorry, is what you're saying. But like taking like the white person out of the equation, like I think it would be easy to take that out if so many wrongful doings were not racially charged. If people weren't being attacked because of the color of their skin, then we wouldn't have to identify our attackers, our oppressors by race as well, because then it wouldn't be that way. But it's literally a race of people who have been really harming the rest of us, you know, that don't fall in their box, unfortunately. And I think that's the real reason why. And I think if we can stop that, then honestly, I think it really stops everything.
But I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to say it one more time. Arabs and Jews have had from the beginning of time issues, correct? They hate over religion, over land, whatever, all of the stuff that they're doing. It's the same scenario, different culture. It's never going to go away, unfortunately. And it's always been there.
So you're just saying, are you saying
Jesus
with
Christ,
internal?
But Jesus Christ was born to make those changes, though. He died on the cross for our sins, though. So if we want to go there, that means us as people on earth, then we got to pass the torch. So then that means we have to have these platforms. We have to speak up. We have to be calling out people for when they're doing harmful things and etc. Because otherwise, there will be zero possibility for change.
Right.
This is a great
segue. Like, there has to be.
The dangerous thing with that kind of statement is similar. It's akin to saying all lives matter. Mm-hmm. The reason we have Black Lives Matter in this country, I'm not talking about what's happening in Canada. I'm not talking about what's happening in Europe, what's happening over in China, what's happening in South America, what's happening in Haiti. I'm talking about here in the United States where we got, where we have a system of oppression that is affecting that is disproportionately impacting Black people on a very real, very systematic way, where there is an agenda to remove the Black male from the family, to destabilize the Black family as a systematic approach to destroy the Black family and keep them subservient to white people. So the danger in saying, oh, well, yes, there's, people that and I'm paraphrasing, but yes, there's going to be conflict that happens between races. Yes, that exists. But that doesn't negate the thing that we're trying to change. The thing that we're trying to change and the thing that we're trying to address as Black people on this podcast, let's be clear, as Black gay men on this podcast, the thing that we are focused on is equity for us. And speaking up from our experience, right? And yes, we want to include other voices, but let's be mindful to not diminish the plight, the frustration, the agony, the trauma that exists, that is very real and happens on a day-to-day basis for Black people by trying to compare it to other people's trauma. Trauma doesn't compare to other people's trauma. So what happens to a Black person in America, you cannot compare to somebody who has been affected by, like Auschwitz, who has been affected by apartheid, who has been affected by these monstrous things that have happened all around the globe. You can't compare those two because trauma is individualized and trauma is experienced as a culture. And so in this United States, where we have issues like systemic racism that disproportionately, just look at the city that you all live in and how the county lines are drawn for voting and things like that. Who does that benefit? It don't benefit the Black people. Look at around Atlanta and how the highways were crafted to keep certain people in and certain people out. So there are copious examples. I wanted to give you another word.
Ooh, the word of the day.
There are copious examples of this. And I hear what you're saying, Corey, because I know that you're not trying to diminish. But there will be somebody who is listening and they will inflate what you're saying or leverage what you're saying to try to prove a point that is counter to what your intention is, because what they're hearing is all lives matter. Right. Even though I know that that's not what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we just have to be careful. We have to be careful about how we just have to be mindful of how our words can be taken and used against us. And I think, again, for this podcast, what we've been really focused on, and even in the context of like our relationships with our partners and wanting to have you all on, is that we all have perspectives that are valid and that are important for sharing. And I think this platform provides a space for us to express those and kind of work through those together. Because at the end of the day, we want the same thing. At least on this podcast, we want the same thing.
And that's something too that I know we've kind of have a little dynamic that we've had to work on. I don't know if you okay with me saying that but your upbringing, your experience being back home.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like being a refugee and going through the war and stuff like that. When we were, first starting to, know each other and be together, often he would talk about his experiences as a refugee back in Kosovo, and would talk about like times where like y'all, like they only had water for a certain time of the day, electricity for a certain time of the day. And there were so many people living in one house, and, like they had to run for people because people were looking to like take out his whole family and stuff like that. Like, and being able to both be, have different type of traumas, a history that both affected us in a deep level, but at the same time being able to make space for both. And you can make space with both without being able to at the same time saying all, because of the fact that at the end of the day, this was the main reason why we're having this conversation. And yes, you have something that bothers you, but we're going to talk about that on a different time. That needs to have its own space. And we got to stop doing this thing where everyone who has trauma, well, guess what? All of y'all get to be like, no. Because that's not how you solve trauma. It's just not one full swoop. You have to take it as for what it is and processes it for what it is, nothing more. Not because someone else is going through something else that's unrelated. So my trauma needs to have its own space, and it needs to be broken down and focused and talked about for what it is, and only that, not someone else's issue. And then I had to learn how to make space for his at a completely different time. So I think that's something that people need to be able to do, though, as well.
And it goes back to what I said earlier too. Like, the biggest literally lesson I've learned on this podcast was the era and me saying white. And because the trauma that he has had from the same community that's placing the trauma on Black people, gave him the same trauma. And for him, he was like, hold on, time out. No. Yeah. They gave me trauma too, and these are the traumas I had. That kind of gets missed sometimes. I mean, because we're a Black podcast, so that we talking about ours. But I agree with you saying that, yes, there is part of humanity that we're all dealing with the trauma portion, and I think that's what you're trying to get to.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, a lot of the trauma was placed by the same community, quite frankly. Yeah. So anyway, so we're an hour in. Damn. We're going to take a quick little tea break. And we'll be right back. We interrupt this episode for very important information.
That's right. You've been asking for it for a long time, and we have heard you.
Yep. It's been a long time coming, but it's finally here.
Yo AunTeas
got
merch. Hey, that's right. You know what? We got tees, we got long tees, we got sweatshirts, we got fanny packs, there's just a whole gamut of stuff out there. So go and check that out.
We are so appreciative of your love and support, and we are so excited to launch it. Girl, where can we find us at?
Ma'am, they can head right over to minoritareport.com to check out the selection.
That's right. That's MINORITEA report.com.
Woo!
Was that bad of me to say?
No, that was
no, absolutely
not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. You wanted it.
But the real tea is, like, those are the conversations that need to be had. Like, those are the genuine ones that people who are in safe spaces sometimes don't feel comfortable to have, and it's important for us to show, just even with the dynamic of us all being in interracial relationships and being across the country, etc., like different backgrounds, being comfortable just to say that, like, and not attack you or no one fighting and yelling and all the rest of this stuff, no housewives type shit going on. Like, it was just a regular ass conversation with nothing but love.
It's just the Ohio in me. I've learned so much over the past 10 years.
Well, what happens is, like,
there's Ohio in me.
Definitely.
This is a pause or a podcast.
Yeah, right. We're back in it.
Yeah, we back in it.
But no, like, I mean, that's dynamic too, even with, like, say, some of your family and things like that comes up that we dissect literally day in, day out. That is part, quite frankly, being in an interracial relationship. That yeah. So yeah.
But I don't think I've, at least I haven't heard it. We all know how people talk, but I've never felt, maybe once, but really any like problems with you being Black, Kerel, or in a relation. I've never felt any of that.
What
Must be
feel
nice.
Any
what
negative,
like on your part, or just like
just
the
from
energy
like
coming from
my close
outside?
family and friends, like a couple little things. Yes,
I mean,
I'm
but
not.
and it
just
goes
a
back to
couple
like
little
microaggressions and things like that, and we've talked about that
Yes.
before. But it's more.
It comes down to being white.
But it comes down to it comes down to a lot of times people want this grandiosity moment, quite frankly. They want, I'm gonna call Kerel the N-word and I'm gonna do that. It's not that. It's the day in, day out microaggressions that and the ignorance, quite frankly, that they have thinking, since Kerel's educated, since Kerel comes from middle class. So now you hold on, let me finish. Since Kerel does this, they have this perception, and this is why we kind of talk about the spectrum. They have this perception of what a Black person is. And if you're not that, then you must be okay in this country. And that's not the case at all. And I think that's where a lot of stuff with your family, or not even just your family, just people, period, that's where it kind of comes up and shows up, where they're like, oh, well, Kerel shouldn't be that upset about this because Kerel's doing well and Kerel's doing... No, ho. They're going to pull me over just as easily. And so that's things. And like, remember the time, and I've shared this on the podcast too, and I guess this is going to be the big part of the episode. Damn. Remember the time we went antiquing in Waco?
Yes.
And that was like the first time Corey realized, he's like, oh shit, I've never been followed in a freaking antique store, and you go antiquing all day, every day.
I almost went all Jerrell off on him too.
You know, and so for him in that moment, he realized, it's not these moments of I'm gonna call Kerel the N-word. They don't care how much money I have in a bank account. They don't care how educated I am. They don't care none of that. All they saw was a Black dude coming in this store, and I'm gonna follow his ass because. Well, they couldn't tell you were probably Arab, quite frankly. Well, maybe in Waco they could have. But and so those are those moments,
and it's not in our heads.
Right, and that is
that's
not
the other thing.
Exactly.
Because there are people who are not Black, and I'm not just saying white people. There are people who are not Black who like really get hyped on like, they throwing the race card around when we're calling something out because we have a lived-in experience.
Yeah.
We have a lived-in experience that says, when something's happening like this, I know what that is. Yeah. We call shit real quick. Mm-hmm. That's why you don't see a lot of Black people in horror movies because we're like,
we know what this situation is.
No, we don't. We got enough trauma on our own. We're not going in that barn with all them chainsaws hanging from the ceiling. No,
if we made movies, Vine would still be around because that's how long the motherfucking movie would last. Okay,
they'd be like, I'm out this bitch.
No, we out. Boom.
Oh Lord! All right, let's get to this Ask Yo Aunteas question. So, what time is it?
Yes.
Ask
your husband.
Oh man,
I've always wanted to do that.
You know, fabulous stuff. And this one came from community member Brandon. Hey, Brandon, and he's actually been on episodes, so y'all if you check that out. I forget what episode sometime last year. And it says, "Dear Aunties, my husband and I recently celebrated our 4-year wedding anniversary. Congrats, by the way. Says we've been together for 9 years. Would love some advice from the aunties and community on how to keep things quote unquote interesting, both emotionally and physically, as we enter this next decade of our partnership." So maybe the question is like, what do you all do, since we're all in like long-term relationships? What do you all do to keep it emotionally and physically interesting?
Well, I would say one thing that we've been doing, especially the last 6 months, is kind of like almost having like a little check-in, being like, how you doing? You good? Do you need something more? Am I giving you what you need? What more can I do for you? Like just having those conversations and being genuine and authentic about it, you know? And making sure that we're meeting each other at each other's level. You know, like if you want to keep things interesting, sometimes it's not about necessarily you going out the box. Sometimes go in their box and be like, all right, you got a few tricks in there that you like, I'm gonna pick from your box, you know, and keep it pushing, you know, and it's the chop door on the right.
No.
That too. That's a plus.
Eat that box.
Ooh, I know that girl. What are you thinking, Adam?
That's so they've been together a 4-year wedding and then 9 years together. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think it's really about understanding each other. I mean, I know that's half of it, but I think even Dawon and I, we're going on our 7 years in February, and I think we're kind of finding our footing even. So just trying new things is a great start. But I like what you guys do, Jerrell. I think it's great to check in and just kind of get a temperature check on everything. I think that's healthy, but I think that's a great start.
Corey, how about you, baby?
I like what you said, Jerrell. I think we should do that.
I agree.
And my what I would tell everyone is take lots of naps.
Why take lots of naps?
Just close your eyes, everything goes away.
Shut up.
Dawon's gonna go crazy.
I like what you said. I'm gonna try that. Sure.
I keep picking up on the whole the interesting part of it, and I think at the end of the day, I think what I'm picking up on is that it can be really easy to fall into ruts. Because with the longer that you're with somebody, the more that you are comfortable with them, the more that you are, that you fall into certain kind of routines of what you do, especially in this work from home, everybody in everybody's business 24/7, kind of environment that we're in. You can't escape your partner, and so I feel like making things interesting in the next phase of one's, of their relationship is about how do you make sure that you're investing in breaking up the monotony, so that you are keeping the spark alive. We go on, little weekend getaways. We talk about little things that we want to do, we're always coming up with little ideas. We were just talking, was it yesterday, about, I think I brought up the notion of we live in New York, we should go to the Plaza Hotel and do high tea. And it's not we're that fancy or whatever, but it's just that's just something different that we haven't done, and we live in the city. And he's why not why not try that? I just I went to Paris this past weekend. He went to Rhode Island to visit our friends up there. Hey Todd, hey Tony. So,
are you mad? I'd be mad at him.
Me?
I'd have been Paris.
No.
Paris.
No, I had the option to go, to be honest.
Okay.
I chose not to. I told him I want to go for a week, and he said no. So I'm I'm not going then. And he went, and that's fine. It's good. So I think it's good to spend time apart as well. I think that can also keep things fresh. Something really important that Dawon said is, now that we're both working from home and we're here all the time, you have to get out of the house. I mean, I know we're still kind of in
lockdown,
pandemic times.
Yeah.
And you have to be really careful, but getting out of the house is such a big thing. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we went for a bike ride because I wanted to see the leaves down by the river. And it's just so refreshing to get out. So I think, especially in the times that we're living in, being stuck at home all the time, you have to find something to do. And there's plenty of stuff to do, no matter where you live.
Yeah,
and y'all know we live in New York, so
you have everything.
I mean, it's not like we have cars and we can just willy-nilly just I'm gonna go for a drive up to da 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 da. It's a very different thing. So I think we have to
plan.
We have the plan, and we have to be intentional about how we're spending our time and breaking up the monotony, which I think, if anybody listens to our podcast, they know us three couples, like we will break up some monotony in a heartbeat with a trip in a heartbeat.
Right? I know that's right.
Yeah. How about you, Chris?
I'll go
Yeah,
first.
I kind of feel I agree with all of you guys. Like it's easy, especially like during this pandemic time, to like just get into that comfort zone and knowing that he's just there. Like, yeah, we're good, but I feel like it's very important to make actually time for your partner to either if it's doing something or staying at home and playing games or whatever, but it just has to be time dedicated for those two people. And
yeah, we tried painting one time.
yeah, like we tried, I don't know, like new stuff like painting or making this memory box that we like, oh my god, I don't even want to see that again.
Shout out to our bestie Kaylee. She bought us one of those like adventure couples kind of like little books where you like scratch off an activity, and that's the activity that you do, and you can choose before you scratch it off. Do you want to do something that's arts and crafty? Do you want to do something that's more like an adventure? Do you want to do something that's more like food related? Games, scavenger hunt, whatever, and it kind of gives you little like icons of what to get into and what the pricing may be. And so that was actually our Christmas gift last year. Oh my god, that was so cute. But we scratched it off, and it was like to make a little time capsule, like a little memory box. And the idea is to create this box, and every time when you're feeling like that love, you want to save memories, like some memory, and you just put it in the box. And then when you are feeling like you all are like, girl, this might be it, right? Then you open that box, and then it's to help to like remind you of like how you even got this far to begin with, if it makes sense. But honestly, like little things like that make a difference.
Just plan stuff for those two people. And let's not forget
sex.
Spice it up, yeah. Spice that up. Like buy some toys. Who knows? Some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you all nailed it. What did we do? Like, I feel most times, like for Corey's love language is like gifts and things like that. So like
food,
and Zaga and food. And food.
Take him shopping.
Shopping, but
take
like
me to Home Goods.
He likes a Home Goods moment. So even like I couldn't care less about Home Goods, but just knowing he enjoys it, I'm like, all right, I'll tag along and truck me through this damn store.
You go with me,
But stuff like that, like sometimes people like, let's get out the house and just walk the dog and go for a long walk. Just it's kind of like those little moments just to be together, quite frankly. We usually try to do like a date night to go eat somewhere. Like lately it's been that the Asian restaurant with the sushi revolver thing or whatever. So you'll see something on TikTok and be like, let's try this place out. I'm like, okay. So I guess I don't know how interesting that is, because it's so easy to get in a, especially because you're comfortable with your human. So you're like, let's just chill on the fucking couch and watch a movie or watch TV.
Yep. One of our 19 shows that we watched together.
Did I give my opinion?
Look, I had to drag Dawon to the movies because we don't watch a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
And he watches stuff like a mile a minute, so I can't even get into it because he's.
That's because she recorded everything, girl. She'd be like,
"So do."
That's why.
And she trailblazes through it. So I had to drag him to the movies. Okay. It gets him away from the TV, and then he's all.
She's about to defend herself. Buckle up.
How long did it take you to watch Mad Men?
Silence.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, I took like probably a year to watch it.
Yeah, I'm with Adam. Like I feel like,
Yeah, it would have taken me years.
No. I loved it. I loved Mad Men. I just wanted to carry it out because I knew when it was over, it was over.
He's a savorer, and I'm a binger.
Okay.
I got into it way after
Did you say you were a savior?
No, I binge too.
Okay, yeah, you are a binger.
Girl,
yeah.
just
Look.
get over it.
I get so bored when
Can I give you my honest answer now?
Yeah, give us your honest.
I'll give you my honest answer.
Just some anal beads. You want to make it interesting?
I like being in a rut. It's comfortable.
You're like a homebody, like
a creature habit type thing, like where you like to have that
Is that okay?
consistency.
Sometimes I let you know when it's not.
I'm on key change.
I like
Sometimes.
I think the risk. I think the risk that one runs when
the other person.
when one gets so. The risk that one runs when life becomes so routine is that everything feels like the same, and then next thing you know, you blink and it's like 5 months have passed.
Yeah, that's true too.
And
but like,
one of the
I'm
things that makes
I'm not too bad about it though, because I can be a pretty rut person too, where I'm like, I'm just good, like, cause like I guess I'm one of those, like, I know I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. Let me get that done, and then like I just want to chill. So it doesn't bother me too much. And then when I do, like, I go on a friend's trip or whatever. And so we're good about, if you want to go somewhere, go.
Oh my God, my new trip to New York by myself.
You're pounding on the table again, girl.
Was so nice.
We still have your umbrella, by the way.
I'll keep it. It's one of those $5 ones.
Yeah.
But I will say though, I think when it comes to keeping it interesting, I think the easiest way is to live in your partner's love language, because that way you can make sure that whatever it is that you're trying to do or convey or whatever, it will be received with the intention that you're trying to apply behind it. If you try to do it what you want to do for yourself, they may not feel the same that what you want. And I think that's why we've really in this past 6 months started doing more check-ins to make sure that although, I want to do this, I want to make sure that I'm doing something that he is going to receive. If we're talking about, emotional and physical, like the best way is to go to the source. Just don't. Yes. I mean, like at this point in your life, when you have been with a long-term relationship, like with a person, like your communication should be so good where you shouldn't need to guess.
I feel like that's the important key. Like you just have to communicate it. Like we had that discussion, I don't know, like probably 6 or 7 months ago, when I expressed like, hey, I am feeling this is this, and I need this, otherwise this. And things, like we have to change stuff and whatever, do check-ins or plan date
and receive it too,
and all that.
Because it can be easy to get defensive.
And let me tell you, she did. I mean, by she, I mean me.
Yeah.
Okay,
I feel
because
like
I was taking the screenshots of the instant from Messenger, being like, he said this, and literally for like the next 6 weeks, I was like rereading them because I literally had gotten my feelings, and I can admit that I did not respond in the best way. I was also going through things with my family at the same time. My nephew had get ran over by a car. Like it was just a lot going on at that time, but like.
I feel like after 9 years, you should be comfortable, because they said 9 years. Yeah. You should be comfortable to like communicating with your partner. Just say like, hey, let's do that, or I need this, or I need that. If things are getting boring.
Also, just listen too. That's the other thing. Like I've learned just like how I learn how to like give is just by listening to like the little things that he say he wants to do, or he wants, or he likes. Sometimes just listening to your partner, like actively listening, meaning you are retaining the information that they're giving you, not just in one ear out the other ear. But that's another way to keep it interesting too, because that's in those moments they can sometimes be vulnerable. And then so when you receive that information and you do it, they're like, well, damn, bitch. Okay, you were listening, man. You heard me, and then
you learning something, Kaboo, is what you learning.
I don't listen.
Yeah, I have that problem.
Or, at the end of the day, just take them to Swing of Riches before it closed by January 15th.
That too.
Get you riled up, and then be like, anyway. But that was a great question. We appreciate you sending that in. We kind of saved that one because we knew the husband's episode was coming up here. So continue to send your Ask Yo Aunteas questions to aya@minorityareport.com.
That is 3 weeks in a row now. That is
like I'm thinking so hard about it now because I'm like, okay, don't fuck it up, and then I still fuck it up. aya@minorityareport.com or DM us, damn it. Woo! And before we get out of here, we wanted to play a quick little game, and we told each of our husbands to come up with their diva list, and we each wanted to share our diva list, and it's our top 3, no particular order. And we're specifically talking about within music and singing and things like that. Because it could go a long ways. We could go movies and all that shit. So
I told him the wrong thing. I know we talked about a couple things.
That,
no.
So.
That's okay.
Didn't specify it either.
Because I said it was just divas, however you wanted to describe it. Because I know we talked about a couple of different ways of spinning it.
Yeah, but I think we talked about just music, so that way we just kept it simple. Because I know I know I'm gonna ask some questions because I'm very curious about Corey's.
Mine?
I'm the Corey's.
Okay, let's start with her then.
Actually, I already probably know what Corey's is.
Why are you curious about mine?
I'm just very curious. Ever since, let me tell you,
they're gonna be
one of my fondest memories, and literally one of my fondest memories is
Prince.
Yes, when we went to McDonald's, bitch, and we were jamming out to Prince. So, I want to know who your divas are. I'm very curious.
Well, first of all, when we were talking about love languages really fast, I fell in love with Fiznik because I made my Greek salad, and he looked at me, and he goes, "This tastes like home." Oh, my thing fell out.
Sweet.
That was the best Fiznik. Mine are my 3 divas. Do they have to be in order?
No.
Okay. No, just any particular.
Phoebe Snow.
Mm-hmm.
Does everyone know who she is?
I've heard of her.
Phoebe
I've
Snow.
actually heard of her.
She's dope though.
And I'm gonna say Madonna, and then Prince is my all-time favorite.
I knew it was
diva.
gonna be those 3
because he was a diva. Come on now.
You damn right.
He was the ultimate.
Damn
diva.
right.
Even Beyonce learned from Prince.
That's a true statement.
I mean, come on now.
Statement.
We should let the husbands go first.
Yeah.
Adam, do you want to go, or Fizz, do you want to go?
Adam.
He nominated you.
I would say number 1 would absolutely be Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
She's, if she can bring tears to my eyes in her singing, that's it. I would say, oh my God, her albums are so beautiful. And then when you
Fuck Me Pumps.
Oh yes, I love that.
Oh, the lips to this I said.
When you walk in a bar, Dawon can sing it too.
Oh.
I would say somebody I grew up loving, I was absolutely obsessed with, is Gwen Stefani. But this was in her No Doubt days, and I have to be very, very honest. I'm not, as much as I love her and I love the old Gwen Stefani, I'm not feeling the new Gwen at all.
I am not either. I'm glad you said that.
No, I and that makes me sad because I kid you not, I was obsessed with her growing up. But I think she now just feels very inauthentic, and I hate saying that.
It's just kind of like Madonna now,
it's just inauthentic. It's like a sellout. I'm okay, I'm done. And especially after getting with Blake Shelton, nah. I couldn't get down.
All right. I will say this: I'd fuck Blake Shelton on personality alone. I don't think he's cute, but his personality, he seems like a fun dude that is just a great time. You end up drunk after a few beers, and you're okay.
See, I swear I heard he was homophobic. I don't know
really?
I don't know if it's true. That's what I've heard, and then ever since I've heard that. The whole thing rubs me the wrong way. Yeah.
I can't see him being homophobic with Gwen Stefani. I can see her being hey, you want this, Nani? You want this, Nani, or nah? No. Yeah. I feel like she'll hold out on him. But I'm sorry.
Yeah. She's But that's the thing though too, is now she's so quiet. She doesn't really speak out about anything, so she's just kind of, I don't know, taking a backseat to everything. But the OG Gwen, I'm still obsessed with.
The don't speak. I know just what
and I wasn't prepared to have a third singer. So thanks to Dawon. So I'm just gonna say Brittany. I love Brittany.
Oh my God.
Shush.
Free Brittany.
Yeah.
Oh. Or is she free?
I'm not that kind of Britney
said a
fan
singer?
anymore.
A singer.
You're right. She's a performer.
Exactly.
She's a performer. But
She's
that's
a
what I'm
diva.
saying. Like I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those, let me say, I'm not one of those gays. I don't love a lot of like the really watered down, like Ariana Grande, Katy Perry. I don't care about any of those people. Don't kill me.
At least they'll keep you a vocal.
But exactly. No, I love Brittany. I love Brittany for who she was. Again, she's even a different person nowadays, but you know, free Brittany. I still love her.
Okay, now.
Who you
That's how
got,
I'm gonna
Fizz?
wrap it up.
Taylor Swift for life. No, I'm joking. Look
And
at that face.
wash your hands, wash your legs.
Did y'all Did y'all
Look at Dawon's face. He was like, "What?"
Ooh.
No, I'm joking. I really, really, really love. Of course, she's my sister from Kosovo.
Yeah.
Dua Lipa. Like I know she's new and she's still like learning a lot and developing and changing and all that, but I really do love all the work that she's done so far.
She's that bitch right now.
And
Like she's that bitch.
especially with the last album, I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, bitch,
Yeah.
let's do this. I think my second one, but this is really hard because it has to be Adele for me, and it's not just because of she's like really on the radio right now because of the album, but I literally have all of her albums on my iPhone and I listen to her, and we even listened to all of her albums when we went on our road trip.
And those tickets.
All of it.
Hey.
Yeah, she has to be my number two. And the number three, I don't know, like it's really hard because I do love, like, I don't know. I grew up with Celine Dion because of my mom, or Mariah Carey because of my mom, and all of the like. I love Beyonce, I love Lady Gaga, all of these, but I think I'm gonna say like an Albanian singer. Her name is like Elvana Jota.
Yeah.
And I really do love her because, as I think Adam said, like I can dance to her song, but I can cry to her songs, but I can like just meditate to her songs. Like she gives me all of these feelings. Like I've been listening to her like when we drive, and I'm like, "Hey, Jerrell, sorry, I just have to listen to this song."
I gotta ask questions. When he listens to her, I have to ask questions. Like, so how are we feeling? Because it can literally be.
Sometimes he comes and like just checks on me on the room, and I'm like, Jerrell, leave me alone. I'm performing right now.
Like I'm having a
performing, okay? The stilettos come out. He just be sitting there, and he be
So yeah, I love
living. And actually, it's funny because I honestly don't understand any of the songs that she's singing, but when he listens, like I know who it is. As soon as I'm like, all right, cool, I know her. Yeah. And I like her music actually a lot too. I should look up the lyrics sometime.
Minor detail.
No. But you'd be talking about she'd be crying over some dude, and then at the same time be like, no, fuck you. Like it'd be weird because he'll be like dancing to that song. He's like, she's crying over this man right now, and you know she's saying that you are the worst person at the same time, and then will like be dancing like a fuck you.
It was like
song.
very Robin-esque.
Yeah. You know, so I'd be like, sometimes I don't know the vibe of it, you know. Sometimes it's supposed to be a sad song, but it sounds happy, if that makes sense. So I definitely gotta listen to the lyrics or look up the lyrics.
All right, who you got, Dawon?
You know, I was trying to think about like
Mariah Carey.
Right, we know that.
What I was trying to think of was, I mean, almost negating the people that we already talk about on a regular basis. You know what I mean? Because we always talk about, you know, Janet and Mariah. Well, at least I talk about Mariah, and you know, and Beyonce. So I'm gonna stay away from those folks, because you know, they're obviously in my top, but that's not a surprise. And I feel like, you know, the listeners will be curious about who else.
Who's
you know,
on that
like,
next
damn, we
tier?
talk about them all the time. It's like, okay, well, who else is there? Sade for me, for sure. Sade, because I'm trying to think about the artists that I go back to over and over and over again. And outside of those, I go back to Sade a lot. Who else? Yeah.
I know.
I will. Ooh, on the radio. Someone left my cake out in the rain. Yeah, that's another one. What's another one? You think of anybody else?
How did you not think this through?
Well, I was literally changing in the moment because I was like, I was just gonna say those three. But I'm like, okay, well, we talk about them all the time.
Patti LaBelle.
He listens to Mariah a lot. You should put her back into the mix.
Yeah. I was about to say,
I'll
you
say
can't
that.
negate
He loves Mariah.
Yeah, I have to. I'll say that. Yeah, Mariah. Yeah.
For
what
me,
about you, Boo?
for me, it'll be Anita Baker. No, I'm kidding. No, of course, Beyonce. And I've seen her live both as a solo performer as also in Destiny Child as well. And it's just been great just to see her grow as an artist. And also just while making a lane for her own, also paying like respect and dues to all those who came before her as well too. So Beyonce would definitely be number one. Next, it would have to be Jasmine Sullivan. And I just feel like she just has this place in like R&B that is just so true and authentic to R&B music that so many people are not checking for, but that vocal, the writing, the background vocals, it is just ridiculous. Like I truly feel that the only reason why people don't know her as much as people know like a Beyonce or someone else is because she didn't do the jive. She didn't do the white man dance to like be front, front.
She takes 5 years between albums as well.
Yes, and that too, and that too. But I feel like, but here's the thing though, like in the Black community, the people who are R&B fans know Jasmine Sullivan.
Yeah,
like they know Jasmine Sullivan, you know.
Yeah.
And then I would have to. It was close because I love Rihanna. Like I love her, but I have to give it to her, and I want to give it to her again for similar reasons to Jasmine, which is her can write the fuck out of a song and give you a hook that will have you singing that chorus all damn year.
Yeah.
You know? And not only just that though, like she sings R&B on such a wide scale. Like you hear like your anthems, but you also hear like your movement pieces. You know, like you also see her like doing music videos that like feature people who are of the LGBTQIA plus community. You know, like you just see her using R&B and her voice to be so inclusive of so many different people. She's dabbled in like country as well. Like she is just an artist who is also an advocate. Like she takes her responsibility of being a star, someone that people are checking for, serious.
Yeah.
And I just checked for that.
Her.
Her.
Oh.
Her. He was like, that don't sound like her.
Have you been to one of her concerts?
Yes, I have, and she was 3.5 hours late.
Girl, she can't sing.
Same with Lauryn Hill.
I was hella mad. I was hella mad.
I was like, Rihanna, if you make me sing one more verse, I paid for your ass to sing this verse.
Yeah.
That's not CPT.
And all three of those artists will sing their actual songs and sound like, and the very close will be Adele. And I'll say that because I've seen Adele live.
Amazing.
And that bitch is
sing
amazing. Sings the house down. Like, just, what'd you say?
I would totally see her live.
Oh yeah, amazing. Like I saw her live, and it sounded like that. I sounded like I was listening to their album. Yeah, like real talk. Sounded just like I was like, is she lip syncing? It was so good that I had to question. I was like, that bitch ain't singing. She can't be singing.
And she's funny.
Yes, when she interacts with the crowd, oh, it's hilarious. Oh yeah.
Wait, say that again. And she's funny.
And she's funny.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to stop mine real quick for it because I was coming to the end of the track here. Hold on, I might have to stop it real quick. Hold on. There we go. For me, and hopefully I can line this back up. Shit. Now you got me thinking because I was like, okay, outside the norm because it's going to be Beyonce and Janet for sure.
Like Janet,
right.
You know, and I was telling him even before recording, I was like, I don't know who my third is because it's an ever revolving door. There's no one I don't think that has stuck in that number 3 spot for me consistently. It might be Mariah one day. It might be Mary J. Blige one day. So I'm trying to think.
Who came out with new music last weekend? Have you listened?
I did. I listened to it on the flight back from Dallas. It's decent. Her actually wrote one of the 2 singles.
Yeah. She wrote another one of hers too, like a couple years ago. Yeah.
So it's good. I would say the next tier, I listen to A-Marie a lot to this day. Like, really? I love me some A-Marie. So
just one thing?
Honey. That's probably not even my favorite song. There's so many, like, album tracks.
Let me tell you, Nothing Like Loving You still gets me.
Exactly. Rolling like Down My Face. You. Oh, let Rolling Down My Face come on right now, bitch.
Like loving you.
Oh, loving you. Come on, backgrounds. Who else in the second day? Jasmine. I listen to Jasmine a lot. Who else?
Naming like 5.
Karen Clark. I was just trying to. No, well, I was trying to see who's that next tier. I was trying to see that next tier.
Very much. Very much.
So that's 3 in the 20. So that's 3 in the bottom tier. The next tier, because like that.
In the bottom tier.
I mean, everyone's bottom tier compared to Jen and Beyonce. It is what it is. Sorry. So yeah, so those are at least Janet, Beyonce for sure, and then whatever I'm feeling that day is kind of the revolving door. So, but
it's just interesting because like listening to all 6's catalogs, it's like some people place more on kind of like vocal ability and legacy, and then others on kind of like impact, like emotional impact, but they might not have had like. They don't have like 15 records behind them, you know, and then others is more about like the versatility, which is, it's just interesting hearing like, who we all have surfaced up as, like in that diva category.
Yeah. It's exciting because we actually get to see a couple of our divas. So we get to see Jasmine next year, Dua, and then literally the day after Dua Lipa, we see Adele. In Vegas.
Oh wow!
So in 24 hours,
right. She starts her resident. When does that start?
It's in January, like the 22nd, I want to say. Yeah. But we're going April 1st. So literally, we see Dua Lipa March 31st at 7 p.m. And then April 1st, we see Adele.
In Vegas?
In Vegas, it's about to be.
We're coming to Vegas,
child. There.
Yeah,
we're going.
We might have to meet y'all out there.
Oh my gosh!
We just talked about how we didn't know what the hell we was doing, and now he's like, "We going."
I want to go. I want to gamble.
Yeah, April 1st. Boom. Let's do the weekend of April 1st.
Why not?
We'll see. Hey.
Done. See y'all there.
Okay, now.
You say that, but
Community.
we got shit coming up that we don't know when we're gonna be. So
Whatever.
anyway, we'll figure this.
Whoever
out.
made it to the last part of this podcast, first of all, thank you. You made
Right,
it
it's a
out.
long ass episode.
And y'all invited to April 1st in Vegas too then.
Hey,
Shit.
turn up,
Exactly.
turn up.
This is the Titanic link podcast.
Well, look, it
We
was
need two-
Listen, we were pedaling along for the first 15 minutes. Let's
Honey,
be clear.
we were trying to get y'all to
Yes.
speak for the first 15.
Right.
Well, you all didn't amp us up in time. You got to play.
No, y'all was
it's our
talking
fault.
y'all was talking a lot before we said
It's
clap.
our fault. Okay. Ain't y'all grown ass men? Don't
Can,
try to help
we-
your
can we all
own.
sing a Prince song on the way out
No,
together?
we ain't got the rights.
Wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your
Right,
hands.
right, exactly.
When doves
Wash
cry.
your face.
Right, exactly.
I'm
Irresistible
plugging my
bitch.
cleansing
I know
balm,
you're
by
gonna.
the way.
I know you, boo. I knew what song you would sing. But husbands.
What did you say, boo?
Oh, what you?
What did you say?
Oh, I just said wash your face, and I was plugging my cleansing balm.
Hey,
Hey,
Please
come on
say
now.
Absolutely.
Come on now.
Absolutely. So where can we get this cleansing balm at?
You can get it at Ulta, or you can get it at vanillausa.com,
Spell it.
Amazon, but don't shop there. Shop at
There we
vanillausa.com.
go.
BANILA USA.com.
Boom.
So like
Okay.
vanilla, but with a B minus one L.
And
Okay.
Fizz, where can we get your paintings?
Oh,
This
thank
new one right there
you.
behind them. Can we get that behind you? Yeah, this new one right there. Boom.
I do have a website. It's like tisnikshirka.com.
Okay.
Last name.com.
And then husband, where can they find you? Hold on. Let me my whole computer. Hold on. Let me make sure I get it right here, because my computer's tripping right now, not giving me enough space. Okay, go. Where can they find you?
On all social media platforms.
What's your name?
What's your name, girl?
You'll find it.
She
What's
said,
your
just
hook?
look
You
for
all
me.
find
She said,
it.
just look for me.
Yeah, right. Just
You
look
know,
for me.
look.
Google me.
Google me.
What's the
Girl,
hook?
here's the thing. He's been saying, you don't promote diabetes sucks and all the time. And now I give him a platform to do so, and she says, find me.
Diabetes sucks. But this tastes good on Instagram and TikTok is what? This tastes good.
Lord have mercy. Anyway, community,
We got there.
this is what we have next week. Next week we have the Christmas episode, which is gonna be dope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then followed
It's
by
gonna
we
be
have
extra dope.
ooh, that episode. We kind of recorded it a little early, just to be transparent, but it's fire. And then we have a couple like best ofs and Ask Yo Aunteas, but it has new commentary throughout it, so look out for those, because we're about to take us a couple weeks off to chill out for a little bit. But husbands, thank you for taking the time to be with us. We won't make it 100 episodes until
Thanks
the next
for having
time.
us.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
It's been nice to
absolutely.
join.
And then community, wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass, and we will see you next week.
2022.
And next year.
actually.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye, y'all.
everyone.